Hello guys, welcome. Alright, let's continue Ace Attorney. Let's do that. Oh, just put that on this one. It also on break. That needs to be on break as well. Excuse me. Woo. Lots of flour coming up. I can feel it. My body feels it. So gross. Alright. Continue the adventure. Let's do that. Oh, forgot to open chatbot. Chatbot. My dear fella, Jones, you sure what you're saying there? That the boss you know actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Of course I'm sure. Never sure actually. But whatever. As was I possibly more shocked than both of me? Wait. But I was more shocked than all of you put together, really? This is the autopsy report in question. Yeah, why is there no time of death? That's a weird one. Would they even, complete an autopsy report without any of those? Why would they? Yeah, if it was deliberate, someone knows, right? In mind of the last case we worked on, and Dr. said it does. Who worked on the autopsy report? Who did? Who did that? Mariah Gorey. As in Gory? Red-headed leak. Yeah, whatever. You had trouble with those leak men too, didn't you? You did. What did you do? Jones, the scented mask, the underlying scent of deception. Wait, what? The criminal location of the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they, in Mr. Shom's suit? And it was me who took them in. You did. It's going to that pair in the witness stand. Something isn't quite right. So what's the deal here, huh? What's the deal here? Greyson's own sleuth hound interest was piqued by a rare set of weekly £4 income. Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sean. Shouldn't. Gina there is admiring Greyson. She'll kill you. You will arrive at this point somehow. What does he? Observe the time. Yeah, what does he want me? Make me see. Get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this case. Sure. Let's do this! I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Baron von Zeke. The accused of murder, Prosecutor Asogi. Have you summoned the witness? Have you? The two member of Red-Headed League. Right? Alright, these two, who are they? Two men? Fabien de Rousseau, a French? Of the great Rousseau family from Nice? In France, my name is Peppino de Rossi. Is that Portugal? Very familiar de Rossi. Italian? Yeah. The landowner from Napoli. First became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility, huh? Temsik as the future leader of Europe's Temsik. Like Temsik. Hello, I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little gray cells of my brain. That is all I'm trying to do, huh? It's not even denying it. With the deception, A, he has the grand ideals but petty plan. I don't get is why he's saying A. And I won't have to do a match again in Japan. I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. What match? What match? Platoon 3 match? We're not the hilarious, brother. Where's this? This is serious. I did not watch the Splatoon 3 World Match Championship. It's tomorrow. I did not watch it. Well, I'm not gonna watch it. I'll probably be very busy. They didn't state as reason for that. Did they not? Greyson, stop! I mean, one I do not participate in, usually I don't watch it. Not that I have the skill for championship anyway. Okay, we have the testimony here. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper. Except those two? I mean, maybe something happened. Like at the last minute, one of the other country forfeited, so they put the last two. And then, I don't know. Like really at the last minute? Maybe, who knows? Why are you deleting everything? Oui, c'est ça! I'm honored that you have seen it. State that the only condition for joining the league is having flame color hair. Is it 17 though? I don't know. I mean, they determine whatever they want to do. Receive a weekly income of £4. Hello, Ali. And from each person's present, this pair took an application fee for 5 shillings. How are you doing, Ali? Just for... Is that just one brain rot? I'm doing good. I mean, of course we're good, right? We saw that rare event of solar eclipse that happens every couple of hundreds of years. We should feel special, Ali, don't we? I mean, I even made a video out of it, but I just did not post it. I guess I could post it if I wanted to. But I mean, whatever happens on my camera is a little bit different from what I see with my eyes. Because with my eyes, you know, you can definitely see like a real circle, like a black circle right in the middle, and then some lights around it. But my camera did not capture that. My camera pretty much captured an entire, ball of, light. Well, ball. It's not exactly like a ball. That's one of the time when you can actually see that, the moon itself is pretty caboosed. Clean. I mean, it's not exactly dirty. Kind of want to travel to see the next one. I mean, you can see that the moon is pretty much like not around. It has, bosses around it. Maybe I should post that, 1 minute video that I made. Should I? Do it. I can even show it on stream. It's a really odd shape. It's an odd shape. It's a really odd shape. You want me to show it on? You want me to show it on stream? Give me a second. Whoops. Have to upload it on my computer. Alright. Sorry about that. Am I back? Am I back, guys? Am I back? How do I do this already? Media source. Am I back, guys? Am I back? Am I back, guys? I am back, alright. Okay. Let me put that stupid video. Browse! Why is it taking so much time? Stop it! That's the one. Oh gosh. That is the one. I zoom in. I zoom in. See? See the shape around it? It's not exactly round. Or am I seeing things, guys? Like a ball of fire. But that is the eclipse, though. Almost looks like a toast. No, bread toast. Or like caboose like that. My camera actually captured it really, because right now, you know, you guys saw that, you know, it's very round and stuff. It's not. So why is OBS flipping all my stuff? Now it's getting brighter and brighter. That's weird. See, it's getting brighter and brighter, so you can see the intensity of the light, you know, getting brighter. So it wasn't like first. I mean, my camera did not totally capture, you know, the darkness that we felt. But anyway, you get the idea. You get the idea. It's got like a weirdly bump, right? That's what I'm saying. That's oddly shaped. That shows that, you know, the moon is not exactly totally round. As the Earth is. The Earth is not exactly round because of how fast it's spinning and stuff. And the moon is kind of caboose because it's bombarded by a lot of shit. Get my craving toast? No. How does that remind me of it? Because it looks like that shape of a toast. And I'm not hungry, even though I did not eat anything. What are you gonna describe that shape then? Huh? How do you describe that shape? It's not exactly. It has some, you know, weird corners on it. Anyway, back to the game. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assemble in the park on Lime Street that day, but I don't recall the man in these photographs. Hey, couple. Not toast? That's not a shape. Laura, the expletives have nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. I mean, a lot of people were cheering too, and I'm not even close to the park that they are in. I mean, probably, I don't know where they're cheering from, but there is like, you know, a couple of huge parks from 10th Street, 11th Street from my place. And yes, I have filmed that in my house. So that's why you can see the windows and stuff. I was nowhere near any, you know, public gathering in a park or some shit like that. I mean, even though I could technically walk all the way there, but you can definitely hear all the people shouting and cheering of the, you know, once in a lifetime event. They were really excited, honestly. They must have been pretty loud. They are quite loud, so that for me to hear it in my house, that means they're quite loud. They are like, 11th Street down, even a little bit more. But I mean, I'm surrounded by parks and stuff. They're pretty much like almost, all at the same distance. Well, one of them is quite closer, but the mountain is like 11. So I would assume all the noises that I heard was from the mountain. Because, they're higher up, so it's easier for them to do the viewing and stuff. They're probably somewhere, down out in the open, it's easier. I mean, I got quite a nice view from my place too. Have soundproof windows. My window was open so that I could film it. I mean, from the video, you can definitely see, the border of my windows. And it was open. This confidential document was a direct from Scotland Yard recorded entry from the inspector private diary dated the day before the is Lime Street, Red-Headed Lake, undercover. The answer, maybe there was another similar event in the park. Now! That is ridiculous. Quite possible that one was killed. Since you were traveling. I mean, Ellie was not in the vicinity of that, right? If you were at home, would you see it? Did you see the zone that it was traversing? Whoops. Press it. So 1,000 people. Quite a spectacle, Redhead has come over the capital. The capo here, he has a magnetism, Always was nowhere near. Yeah, but if you were back at home, would you be inside a zone where you can see it? Also, people wanted was their money, but it was their £4 per week, of course. I spoke personally with all the thousands of applicants. That we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their name and we take their money and we take their address as well. Then I tell them we take some days to let them know by a post. If finito. Maybe 2 minutes. We start early in the morning, we stop late in the night. Back at home you will be able to see it. There were thousands such a gullible redheads in London to storm. Shit. I don't recall the man in this photograph.
Hold it!
Let me see if I have some shit. What's the new thing? Autopsy. I don't think so, and this is a week A. He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. You are tricking people! If between they interview 1,000 people, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, signore. I might be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. Wow. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. I mean, Ali, you are better, in a better place to speak. Do Italians speak like that? With that accent? I mean, you cannot hear it, but what's with all the A's at the end? Hey, capo! The Rossis is supposedly Italian from Napoli. You didn't see a man like this, huh? And this is France. A Frenchie. No, I don't remember. And obviously he dead. He's dead now, but I'll show you he was not in the park. That's French. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. Maybe I should speak with like a Mario accent. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. Now I'm doing Italian accent for. I mean, I guess French from France do. They cannot do the da even though they have it in their vocabulary. So I don't even know why they call it za instead of da or da. In the first place. Also sound Italian. I cannot do accents. In the first place. It's me, Mario. I mean, the sound French. I mean, I can speak French, but I say da instead of za. Za. With a z. But I do know some French do say z. With a z. With a z sound. Which is weird too. If you think about it, it's weird. Because, you know, z, the Z sound. Z is pretty much like an American thing. Because English, Britain, and then, well, since they are right next to it, they don't say Z. They say with a Z. So it's not exactly zebra, but zebra. Right? And yet the French is speaking the z with the z sound. Z! And even Canadian do say, you know, XYZ and not XYZ. How do we get that so differently? I don't know. You tell me. I'm pretty sure that, you know, US is pretty much the only places that say Z. Even though Canada sometimes they do say Z, but that's an American influence, I think, because we're so close to each other's. So what do you guys say, Z or Z? Well, more than 1,000 red-handed people assemble in the park on the Lime Street that day. So 1,000 people, that's big crowd. See the couple here, he has the magnetismo animal, eh? Nobody else could attract so many people. But what is true though, a lot of Italians do speak with their hand. Like, if I could be born again, I would be the capo. I mean, some Italians out there are probably gonna kill me, but you know, they do speak a lot with their hands. All those people want what their money, Peppino. They're £4 per week. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants? Oui, that we did. Because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take out their names, when we take out their money, and we take out their address as well. Mamma mia! I believe by the end of this stream I'm gonna be, it's a me, Mario. Then I'll tell them we take us some days to let them know by a post. Infinito, maybe 2 minutes a person. We start early in the morning, we stop late in the night. But it's true, Ali, you cannot deny that. A lot of Italian men do speak with their hands. We start early in the morning and we start late in the night. You earn 5,000 shillings in one day. Who have thought? Probably not with the A, but you know, Italians do have a very typical accent. Hold it! That is true. No, I don't think so. And this is a wig, eh? He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. Mamma mia. No, signore, I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. Yay. You know, I spoken Italian just sound like typical Midwesterners. I mean, but you have members of your families, you know, who speak Italians, right? Do they speak like with their hands a lot? Obviously not with the "Mizza mi ai." With the A, lots of A's in there, things added, you know, out of nowhere. But according to what you've said, oh, now I'm stuck with the accent. But according to what you've said, you spoke with 1,000 of more people that day. Okay. Ooh, my eyes were burning there, and of Zeze. Surely then you can actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Yeah, how can you be so sure? How can you be so sure that this particular man wasn't present? Normally the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 red heads crowding around. Then it is just an eyesore. But I don't have anyone alive that would have spoken the language. Oh! My bad, Ali, my bad. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe we could recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? I mean, and A. That's not... I don't think that's an Italian thing with the and A. I mean, I guess Canadian, yes, we do speak with A. Not Chinese as well, I guess. Italian though? Italian and French? With the yes. With the Well, I don't know about Italian, so I'm not gonna talk about Italians, but French. Then I do not think I would have forgotten him. Zinc. I only been sure that photograph they told nothing else, but what if I fed them with just one detail about the victim, for example? Oh, spaghetti! Oh, spaghetti! Me, I love spaghetti! Tell them again what you said, Peppino. Si, capo, si! I said it again and again! Allora! Oh crap. But we only have your word for that. Si, but what else can we do? We are not having much fun these days. Pokemon White the last few days. Is it better than Sword and Shield as Scarlet and Violet? And I question every single thing we say. We are the victim here. Hey, Capo. No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people. You had to bring that up, eh? It's not fair. Of course it's fair. Don't proclaim you're innocent when you were a con artist. You have a lot to answer for, Zeppelin. It was your fault that we caught. What is it? Definitely. So you prefer black and white over Sword and Shield and the Scarlet and Violet. I mean, I don't remember black and white had... Well, of course, I don't remember because they don't have it. But I mean, like I said, you know, black and white don't have... I was gonna say open world feel to it, but even Sword and Shield was pretty limited in their open world, right? It's only the raid area that has, you know, it's open in a way. I mean, Scarlet and Violet definitely is an improvement in terms of, you know, open world, but it's definitely a downgrade if you're talking about bugs and all those kind of things. Lots of bugs. But I mean, like I said, it's more like an open world kind of feel. Because there are places that you can go, you can explore, you know, left and right. Even though exploring is a big word, you can still explore a little bit in Sword and Shield. It's interesting playing it again because like fairy type doesn't exist. Fairy type doesn't exist? When did they start fairy type? I thought fairy type existed before black and white. Right? It's a holy punishment, hold on. Was the last time. This is not only punishment, it's only your fault, totally your fault. Don't blame God for your unholy mistake, you're making me sick with the anger. Maybe I make a mistake, eh? But when it's time to eat the pasta, no one needs a pasta. It was added in Generation 6, was it? Was it that late? Somehow in my mind I thought it was added in 3 or 4. No, not 3, 4. But anyway, do you really need fairy type? I suppose not. Because dragon was weak to what? Ice? It already had like a counter, right? Fairy type was added. I don't even know why fairy type was added. Not really? I mean, were there a dragon that was not weak to ice before? I mean, dragon against dragon, yes. What was dragon typing? Yes, my knowledge in the Pokemon department is lacking. I'm at Google. Guru Guru! So dragon was weak against dragon, okay. So not exactly ice, so only dragon, huh? So I guess it was added to counter dragon in a way, right? Dragon weakness in dragon double. So dragon can only fight against a dragon. Ow. Gen 2 to 4 is pretty much Gen 2 to 5 it's pretty much a stand, and then after that 6 was added for the fairy type. Against Dragon and Dark. I mean, Dark don't need one. Dark already is weak against, you know, psychics, right? Psychic and Ghost. Some shit or vice versa. Oh, what was Dark weak against? Fighting, I guess? Fightings and bugs, right? Fightings and bugs. So Dragon hit 2 times against Dragon, the Fairy would hit Dragon and Dark. So I guess it was added to counter dragons, so to speak. Dragon does not exactly have a strong, but they are so strong. No psychic it goes. Dragon is no way. Fairies. No, fairy is strong against what, psychic and ghost? What? 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 So I need to feed him with something. The name, maybe? It's talking about Dark type being weak to Psychic and Ghost. Dark type was weak to Psychic and Ghost? It's the opposite, right? I mean, Dark should trump over Ghost if he's on there attacking. Buck will kill Dark. Right? Or is the opposite? No. No! Buck will kill Dark! No, Buck will kill Dark and so is fighting, right? Dark would actually do double, right? No? Dark typing weak? I'm getting whatever. Okay, his profession or his name, right? Let's do his profession. Inspector. The man in the red headpiece was actually a detective. A detective? But up here he found your notice in the paper. Suspicious decided to investigate incognito. Position change nothing. Add it.
Excuse me.
Mr. DeRossi? See, I'm always adding something. Parmesan olive oil. will not with 2 other type effective against it. I mean, yeah, I think fairy. I remember back in the day there was a talk about fairy being added just to counter dragon. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, like, you know, it's added to counter. But why? What is it the problem? There was a man who said, "Hey, I'm an inspector from Scotland Yard." What? I mean, I guess it makes sense at the beginning because of Elite Four and all those people. There's always like a dragon type of Elite Four who supposedly is always the hardest one. I mean, Gen 1 it's only because of, you know, Alakazam and Kadabra. When it's time to eat the pasta, no one is the faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up. Oh gosh. They're both slamming on the desk at the same time. Bang! Kota! The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. There was a man who came to the flag and said he was an expert. Why are you hiding that fact, you stupid DeRusso? Over here, he don't recognize the man in the fog, or he was someone else? Really? Because to start with, his face is completely different. See, it's true. The man who came was younger. His face was clean-shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner. Anyway, I was not going to before. I took the obvious precaution to say him, if you're really a detective, show us some proofs. See, the capo here, he doesn't take a no-nonsense. But he was well prepared, he said identification. Okay. Official police inspector's identification. Ugh. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another. Yeah. What happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said you are under investigation. So I took his paper from him and chased him out of the park. What? They stole some papers from a police officer? How bold. He made us very scared. That would be Sholmes, right? But I like them. Confiscated? That's a weird word to be using by someone who plainly takes someone else's possession. Okay. I see this shit. Metropolitan Police warrant card? Warrant card, really? Open it. There's not even a picture. Tobias Greyson? Looks genuine to me. Why do they not have... Oh, because back in the day they don't have photos. I keep forgetting that it's like, you know, more than 100 years. On the department identification number details are all correct as well. I know it seems incredible, but yes, I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. This is the real thing! Oh my.
Hold it!
Is a Monsieur Greyson? He is a Monsieur Greyson. A real interview, huh? It was just for a show. Why would I remember the name? Hello, PDB. So where am I gonna present the proof here? I guess since they gave me the identification that is true, he actually stole from a police officer?
Objection!
If I could ask you to examine this item very closely, Miss Lestrade? Is this really a fake or is this genuine? That's the question, which we can answer ourselves.
Objection.
That is the boss's, no question about it. See? As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended Red-Headed League enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Greyson, carrying out an incognito investigation. Zut alors! Oui, French do say that. Zut alors! But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported straight away. I mean, he was always on at me about it. If you lost something, report it at once, he said. Could it be then? He did. That the inspector was physically unable to report it? What are you saying? Unable to? You are not suggesting he's dead. It's quite possible that he was killed before he had a chance to report his identification stolen. No! Ripperones. The defense posited that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Anything to say about that? Did you guys kill him? Wee. I know nothing. I done nothing. Always have to get up in the mon Dieu. You can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, no? Wee. No, I wish I had a return to Italia. Wee, wee. Stop crying, Pepina, please. Otherwise, I will cry too. Lummy, stop your whining and start talking. Now it's an English accent. There's so many accents. I cannot do all those accents. I know the that thing. Wee, I don't know that thing. Wee, wee. Or face the worst possible outcome. Oh shit. You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification paper and the precise circumstances on which you came by them. Yo, he stole an official paper from a police officer. These two. I like the most cumbersome con artist ever. The truth is we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think it was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day just in case. We took the man identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. Whoa. Whoa. A sequestration of a police officer. Ali! Ali! You actually imprisoned a police officer, Ali? Why would you do that, Ali? Ali! Listen, girl. First you said that the man who is really an inspector, that is not an inspector. And not only that, you actually imprison him. Ali. Why would you do that? Doing a sequestration? Mamma mia. Next, what you gonna tell me? You profit of, binding him up to do weird things to him? Ali! But no, see, it was not like a prison. I don't care if it was like a prison or not. You imprisoned him. He was a very comfortable and a calm and a happy couple. It was never part of my plan, I swear it. So you think it was my fault? Just because I got the date of the fairy wrong? Fairy? I do not think it was your fault, but no one know it. Hey, for four. Couple, it's not a fair. You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison. I don't believe this. How could have been a real detective? That's not the point. You don't imprison people. Oh my gosh. Whether he's a detective or not, you still don't do it. You just don't go randomly imprisoning people. Where's your hideout now? That's the question. Ay. You have to believe I never intended for that to happen. You still did it! I'm sure that did not intend it either. Of course he did not intend it for. But there was nothing. What do you mean? Just let him go, see nothing else. What do you mean? There was a first crime for the capital. He was at the... No, that was not the first crime. Oh, I've told you before, that is not a way to describe a criminal mastermind. Empty house behind the park on Lime. We rented a place for a 2-day. It was an inspired idea by the couple. An impulsive idea. Inspired. What am I supposed to say to Zada Zeppino? Pepino. He was in the house you swear that you can find Inspector Greyson, right? But you have to realize I was under the impression that he was a pretender, not a real inspector. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? But we couldn't be completely certain. So you somehow think that he was. Maybe even the slightest chance of being an inspector you still did.
Hold it!
Because why had he come to the pub, we didn't know. There was a chance that we had seen through my plan, which is, if that was the case, he would go straight to the police station to blow a whistle on us. Even if it was just a feigning to be a inspector, he was up to no good, without a doubt. I think most people will agree with you that it's you two who were up to no good. You may be right. Of course I'm right. The point is we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoners. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. I asked myself the same question. We were writing down the name and address or... Yeah, why did he need to show him? I have forgotten what the name said, but the address startles me. Scotland Yard Homicide Division, is that what? Maybe it was not the inspector that was there though. I mean, they did say that the face and everything did not look the same. So someone actually stole. That would make sense though. So someone actually killed the inspector, took his ID and everything, basically. Go to the park and present himself as the inspector, because on the identification it doesn't have any photos anywhere to identify the person. Because no one in their right mind would say, you know, my address is at my working place. Something is going on. Why he missaid it? And that's what he started. Because they did, these two con artists, even though, you know, they are shady and stuff, said that, you know, the face does not look the same. So that's why, that might explain as to why they're saying I did not see Inspector Greyson. Because Inspector Greyson's identity has already been, you know, stolen by someone else. And just to create an alibi at the park. I think that's what it is.
Hold it!
And that would explain why they think that he's a fake Scotland Yard inspector. And thinking that he's suspicious. I think that's what it is. Hilarious, brother, we took a man. Hilarious. Inside locked room. Then we make preparation for transport all the money. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm. The next we let him go. It was nothing, just a minor incident, which is... What happened? It was a design. We give him a nice room, and what does he do, huh? In the middle of the night, he tried to escape through the ventilator. Ventilator? Who do you think we? Of course not. I slimly caught hold of him again and took him back to the room.
Excuse me.
Say something! Mr. DeRoss, is something wrong? I? Me? Yes, you. It seems to make you act even more strangely than usual. Cavolo! Experienza. That is enough, Pepino. There is no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the red-headed leak plan into I was scared. It was not fair to the capo, but I tried to run away. But the capo here, he came after me like a turbine. And he dragged me back to the house kicking a scream. I still have the bruise to prove it, eh, capo? Fantastical bruise? No one wants to look at any part of you all. What to do, eh? I show you, or I don't. I show you, or I don't. You do now. Laura, why? Why is he acting like that? Everyone wants to know. You wanna see me? What is that? Oh wow. It's still very... Red ring I wear on your neck? Yo, he literally strangled you. He's a very tough. I said that is enough. That person can kill. Pepino's neck is nothing to... What the heck? Very well, you will amend your testament I was requested by me. Alright. Whoa! Now we have something. Now let me see the autopsy report.
Objection.
Inspector Greyson was taken prisoner while working incognito. It was hardly a prison, it was an invitation to stay. It was homely, I don't care. However you describe, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. I will ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim. Yes, at the necklace. There are no bruise marks. That there is no red ring visible around his neck. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning, and I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have. Given that the mark is clearly visible on his witness neck, I expect to see some bruising on the victim who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi. The man in the photograph is someone different from the one we have captured that night. I believe you on that. Who's that man though? Posing as an incognito inspector.
Objection.
That's true, however. we also know that the inspector had made a note of a red-headed leak in his diary for that day, which surely means we can divorce the two events completely. If it were the real inspector, no, it's not though. If they actually encountered an imposter, how did the person come to be in possession? Because the other one killed him. I do. It is for precisely this occasion we keep meticulous note in the court record. The facts can lie, even when they point to something so incredible it's almost unbelievable. I mean, the one who showed up was, in fact, the murderer. So why don't you help us to see whatever truth it is that you're apparently seeing? An imposter. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who those two have red-handed took prisoner that cannot have been Inspector Greyson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time, no? On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately poses next is who exactly were this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Greyson's identification? Whoever this man was, the couple dragged him from a pillar to a post with a dog collar. I was not so harsh as you say it was. So who is that false inspector? Hey, who was he? Clearly the defense has an idea about that. Okay. How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know? Kazuma? Who am I supposed to know? I mean, he went missing. Him? Oh gosh. So who is it the... Inspector Greyson? Who was posing as Inspector Greyson? Sherlock Holmes? No. Who? Who is posing? I don't know who's posing though. Him? I mean, they both have a mustache. No, it cannot be him. Then who is it? Oh, it's him? Really?
Objection.
Twist the lips. During his testimony earlier, I noticed something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. Did he? Okay. I just guessed there. Oh, he does have a bruising. It's a birthmark? No, no one will have a birthmark like that. That's actually quite clever then. If he is the killer, then he himself is acting as a witness to supposedly when the inspector was killed, but in fact he did it much earlier. Oh. Oh. I'm sure you collaborate, you better. I'm sending you to death sentence. You're in big trouble, you are. Big trouble for you. Giant ass trouble for you. The man who came to me in the United States was definitely not this man. Brand lips? Never leave Fresno Street or I have no interest in any Red League. What? Touch. This guy with a face like this? Maybe your face is a disguise right now, I'm telling you. That's crazy. I mean, I think that's the point, right? If you are a murderer, think about it for a second. Not only you will kill the person, but you will also make yourself some alibi in such a ways that it would exclude you from the event of killing. That can be accomplished by either trying to fake the timing of death or the timing of the event by you making it seem much later or much earlier, yada yada yada, which is in this case, or simply not faking another identity or killing someone in a distance by you using some form of mechanism that allows you to do that and fake how that person was killed. So in this case, it was the gunshot, right? So it would have sort of fake how he was killed in that place. So if it actually requires someone to pull the trigger, you know, directly next to the inspector, then he couldn't have possibly done it if that was the way he was killed. But in fact, was killed some other ways. It's still possible, right? Simple pet. Stop touching her lips like that. Yes, that's hard to explain, but try. We'll try. Thank you. Let's do that.
Hold it!
What makes you say that? There is no need for your hands on the Z, monsieur. Surely the reason itself is the big lips? I've never seen zip lips like this. Big lips. Come on, just with your words, it's like you try to wring my neck. Yeah, I am. It does look very much like my neck though, right? It does, it does. This is birthmark. Who has a birthmark like that? Were you strangled when you were born? Oh my good gracious. I think this man was strangled when he was born or something. They do. But what if this is a disguise as well? Wait, c'est ça. I swear to it by the flame of my hair. Well, your hair is gonna fall. I mean, if he could be, you know, disguising himself. You know, putting all those big lips. I mean, isn't that what, you know, a lot of girls on TikTok is doing right now? Faking the lips? With the duck lips? By overdrawing with a lip pencil? To make it look much bigger, even though it looks kinda not good as a result. I mean, it makes for a great picture, I suppose, but in real life it looks like odd. I don't know. There are definitely some girls who does that, overdrawn their lips. Just have that like, big lips. That is what I'm saying. For some reason, it makes me wanna eat. Ew! How did Fabian call it an eclair? What? Does that lips looks like an eclair to you? Yo. You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. National trait. Maybe other people from this man country have a grand lip. Oh, yo. No, lad, I was born right here on Fresno Street. Oofa, this is a problem, see. It's the gossip. How many times do you want me to say it, eh? I never leave Fresno alright and have no interest. So, you heard of red-headed leak, had you? You don't get a name like gossip for nothing. It's my business to know what's going off in town. I saw the tasty tidbits for a fair few redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got sandwich caught up for it. He does have a very red nose, if that counts. Well, who knows? But as you can see, my own hair's not got a hint of red in it. And in any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me sliding off to some other part of the town.
Excuse me.
Monsieur de Rousseau, can I help you? I'll lead you to remember something relevant. It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something, to be at the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes? I visited a housing agent on Lime Street and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. Mr. Gossip with a housing agent. Wait, what? He had some kind of contract in his and they were clearly discussing terms. You're mistaking chum. I never left Fresno Street. Me, like I said before, you've mistaken me for someone else. Someone with the same face. You think about it. Is that even a thing? Like, I guess one person, if it was living on a street that has everything, then he might not need to leave the street. But even then, I don't know how that works. Like, would you be able to get every single thing on the same street? How does that work? Look at the names on the paper, and that is... No. This is a man. He lies. He tells you that he has no name. But in fact, his name is Huge Boon. I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said on Fresno, that's that. I don't much like folks talking about my personal life. Huge bones. Very well, shall respect your wish. The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court record of this trial. Assuming no objections. I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case. As it happened, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceeding. Huge Boon, the name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply, the victim's order was discovered in your rented room. You start talking. Better talk, sir. Huge Boon. Well, just between us, I don't like to blow me own trumpet, but there's no finer peddler of tidbits in town. So hey, I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in falling down Backstreet Townhouse. Interesting. So he was the one who rented the room where the inspector was killed. So I need a couple of seconds to let it sink in. What does that entail? I mean, he rented the room so recently. Like, what, 2 days ago maybe? I don't know. And it was not the inspector's house. It was not, you know, Baron von Zeke's renting it. So it cannot be his places of operation. There were two vulgar redheads in there last time. If either of us is vulgar, it's not a me. So what does that mean? I mean, of course, you know, Baron von Zeke, we know he's already innocent of the case. I mean, it doesn't, you know, things doesn't already add up. But what does this entail? I don't like talking about her, but I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss. No. If I must. You have to! Yeah, it has been here under our nose all along. What difference does it make? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What difference does it make? It must make a difference, right?
Hold it!
So, you live in that room presumably, do you? What do you think? There's no bed, is there just a desk? Why would you want to rent it? Yeah, that's the question. I don't think I should have to say, really. What? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential document only to police should have access to. That board's not mine. The inspector was... The only other bits and bobs that belongs to me, the desk and... What? Yeah, people don't generally carry enormous notice boards. The real question is, why was Inspector Greyson killed there? I've not the faintest idea, because it's causing me no end to bother to be on. Wait, what? But Ryder has little known his room as possible for some reason. He does come across that one. There's one part of it that really bothering me now.
Hold it!
You mean you have no families? None at all, so I spend my days on Fresno Street peddling tidbits to passerby. Hoping just between us this is that eventually someone else with lips like mine will come along. Wait, what? Anyway, that marks on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore. Well, that's a fella to do then, eh? If you don't believe me, we're in an impasse. And there's nothing I can do but flick my lips. Stop flicking your lips! It looks like I'm not going to get anywhere here unless I produce some proofs. You're basically saying I'm gonna dress up and pose as some fancy inspector. Just look at me, does that like carry off at this guy with a face like this? Why not? I'll end up looking at his lordship over there, wouldn't I? Pardon? I assure you my lips are entirely unremarkable, and I will ask you to not cast such a scrutinizing look in my direction, Counsel. Yo. Inspector Greyson didn't wear a mustache, doesn't it? He does have a mustache. Maybe he does not need to. That's the extent of the testimony, is it? It's weird. Well, what I'm gonna say is that it would be all but impossible to hide those lips with any form of disguise. Perhaps yes, but nevertheless the mark are equally undeniable. It's identical to the one that Mr. DeRossi, yes? But why does this whole disguise idea just keep playing on my mind then? It does make a difference, right? But the question is, what difference? And what does that make? What difference? Are we talking about the board again? Are we gonna explore the board? it's not the board. Where am I going with this? So it's not the board, so what is it? What difference does it make? That's a question. What does it make as a difference, though? Should I show the board again?
Objection.
It's not the board. What difference does it make?
Objection.
That's not it either. So where am I looking at? I'm stuck here. What am I? I'm not thinking something straight here. What am I supposed to present?
Objection.
Whoops. Wrong move. Wrong move here. Aw. Stuck. Oh, with the photo. Okay. Yes, I look at a little bit of a walkthrough because I don't want to spend thinking. So photo. So we are making the link to the girl now. Tell me who you really are. Who are you? Who are you? Just leave it alone. No, I will never. Leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on the case. No, it does.
Objection. Objection.
But what if we were to look at the other way around? That is part itself is part of the elaborate disguise. Oh shoot. Mr. Huge Boon? Oh shit. So that lip itself is a disguise. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Got stung on the lips? I mean, that's a disguise. It's not true, DL. My lord, the defense believe it can reveal Mr. Boo's identity. I mean, if the girl... Please, no. I know who that is then. If it's linked to that photograph, it must mean someone, the husband, right?
Take that.
It's actually Mr. Vigil. Mr. Daily Vigil. It's a name I got yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact, this is Miss Virgil. From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by two red-headed leaguemen. That will coincide with whatever the lady was talking about before. Like, my husband disappeared, please find it! And last night you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witness, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you have not been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who has been besides herself a worry waiting for you at the visual residence. What I'm talking about? Really? It's a simple enough matter to complete a suspicion. All we have to do is pull off that disguise. Please, pull it up. Bring soap, a sponge, and a washbowl. Alright, remove the makeup, guys. What? Is asking the other two to restrain him? Oh, wow! Don't! Remove it! Remove it! Show your true face to me. Oh, the lips is gone! Wow, that's a masterful disguise. Your true feature, I presume. Yo, that is a masterful disguise. How did we go from that? I mean, I guess the brows is still there, but the eyes is so much bigger too. The lips is bigger, the nose, all the way to this. Yo. I guess the hair is still kind of curly, but it's not even the same color. What the heck? Those things are gone? I mean, would you like to keep the lips as souvenir? So the court can see your face. Let me watch your face. It would appear that the defense counsel assertion was entirely this has all been a very elaborate deception. So witness, tell the court, have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but see, there's no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park. Aha! On the day of the red-headed league enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Greyson who appeared before Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi in the park was you! Was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all? It was you! Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as his chief warder at Barclay Prison. Promises? Why? Your career had promises? No. You could possibly have become the future governor of the prison, and why on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? It's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at prison. 10 years? Yes. I'm really dreadfully sorry about all of this. Yes, it is true, I am Daily Vigil. You were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Huge Boone came from? Boone is the other me. It's a name I invented. Yes, you did. Evidently, there is a great deal under the surface here. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's chief warder came to an end, okay? Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. Times were hard in London and found no suitable engagement at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Huge Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, you did. Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squat-lit peddler. How can she maintain for like 10 years such a high standard of life then? Because she has a lot of bling-bling, huh? And transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became a daily routine. I mean, you are doing good about just peddling and gossip peddling and be able to earn yourself 2 houses. I mean, that is very lucrative works you have. Very lucrative. How can you earn so much money just by standing on the street? If that's the case, I want to strand on the street too. Just selling gossip. But that explains it. Yeah, he never needed it. They regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. Conceal your occupation from them. Yes. Even a 6 pence apiece. You couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. That's what I was asking. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. So how did you do that? That was all thanks to Inspector Greyson. Well, some years after I invented Boone and began my outer life as a street seller, he, the inspector that is, recognized me one day. The victim was an acquaintance of yours, really. So he was the one paying you? I knew him from the time working at the prison. When he saw what I've become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family, and from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked me if we'll carry out a secret assignment for him. Oh shit. Oh shoot. Impersonating. What? Visit Oxy tomorrow and take a statement from a proprietress. It was always something along those lines: surveillance work, interviewing people. What does that mean though? My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Greyson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially. Really? So the inspector was not... A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with the intent to deceive. And that, as I'm sure I need not to point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point though? That's the question I'm asking you. I truthfully did not know. All I can say... Yo, there's something wrong with Greyson. If I am to believe this part, then the inspector is letting everyone believe that he's working, but he's working on something else. I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever! Yo, Greyson is shady. But we already know he was kinda shady beforehand though. He lied about some secret missions for the international incident. He said that, you know, I cannot say, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But not to this point of shadiness though. He started to bring paper with him to the room as well. He became something of a second office for him. Eh? So that would make sense that he has all those paper, but why all the paper of the Reaper? Yes, it was me. As usual, I removed my boon disguise and then went as instructed to the park. It never occurred to me that the bruises on my neck would have kept me away. So what does that entail? What does that entail? The victim was killed on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hand of those two men were they imprisoned the inspector. That's not what I said. But no, that can't be. It wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. For other clarity. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination.
Hold it!
I would like to pose one further question to the witness. What question, counsel? It concerns the event of the 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at the very significant execution that was carried out at the time, so we're gonna link to the professor, right? I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Not really. The events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked, so we're gonna make an assertion on that, linking all the way back to the professor. You're not as calm as collected as usual. I wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memory of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moment, his own father, right? We're treading on very, very deep water here. The truth behind Inspector Gregson's dead? I need you to trust me, please. Very well, then the defense has no objections. I remember very little of that time. I'm sorry to say yes. Yo, that is some deep secrets that everyone is hiding. I resigned from my hole at the prison 10 years ago. You resigned? You did not resign now. But you have forgotten the reason why I had such an important job. It's broken all too easily, which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. We experience pain and suffering what we feel unable to bear. We block it out, obliterate it from our memories, sealed it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memory resurfaces. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried, it's coming out one way or another. He's pushing it. He means to expose the truth at any cost. So that's his mission? Okay, I'll do it. I don't know where we're going. Yep. Well, he's saying the exact same thing. But this is a court of law and I have a duty to pursue the truth. I mean, technically he did not. Clause 132, what is that? Aiding and abetting the escape from this prison of cold. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation will inquiry will be expected. So did he actually help the professor escape? Indicating that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration, it's believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding this negotiation will be demanded. Just a few moments, you made the following statement. I resigned from my whole other prison 10 years ago. Ah, well, yes, no. But the prison chief of your own volition. Of course, why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? This is the dismissal notice regarding ordering the immediate termination of prison staff member employment. And the name on the notice, yours, Mr. Visual. It's mine, it's yours. For some reason, you were dismissed as chief warder. You did. I'm sure. Is he fainting? There must have been good reason. Clearly, you did something. It's written on the note. Something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. Did he truly not remember? Professor's execution. That you would have been present throughout the proceeding. And yet that execution never took place. In the cemetery in the middle of the night there was a witness. However, the victim claims that moment after he saw the victim clambering out of his grave, he was shot. A gunshot ran out from his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. So we are actually looking at the killer. We're trying to find the killer. Interesting. It's in your head somewhere deep down. Yeah, what happened here? You do not remember? What is that big of a shock that he actually forgets about all of this? I mean, he does seem like he totally forgot about every single thing. I think he's gonna faint soon. It was complete chaos. What do you mean it was complete chaos? The prisoner, he was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. How come that never came out? What? My head, it's hazy. It's like some floodgate has been opened. The images, the screams. What do you mean the screams? What happened? The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who's seen a ghost. Enoch Driver, yes, we know that. There were traces at the scene. Traces? Of blood? A plot numbered 139, bloods, lots of bloods. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. Okay. The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering. I've reviewed the police report from that time extensively, and throughout investigation were conducted by Scotland Yard. That was Scotland Yard is... That's a depravity. The word is well chosen. If that's the entire case just to, hide things left and right. To ascertain how the convict manages to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigation team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. The prison warden abetted the man's bid for freedom. He did, yes. And I was suspecting of doing it. Of using the mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. I remember now the horror of it all. It's coming back to me. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detective came to the prison. Okay, I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. I'm sorry, Daly, this is a serious business, but I cannot help you know. As a chief warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of 4. Well, it seems the fellas at Society want to have a few wee words with you about it. You better pack your things, laddie. You are to attend in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, the professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. Now let him escape. I'm finished. My life is over. He's screaming. Fetch the doctor! Someone get me the doctor! He fell.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious...
Hey, voiceover again!
Appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean.
So, we still have
Lord
something, right?
Venzique's, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma.
Everyone is involved with that stupid professor case now, even Greyson.
All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Really? So are we gonna go for that case now? Interesting. Investigation part 2? Really? So where are we going with all of this? That's my question. Show 'em suits! Yeah, what happened? I know I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned, but it seemed Mr. Virgil was taken to the hospital. Yo, what kind of shock did he witness? So much that he fainted. Just like that. That's something. That's something big. But ever since then, his computer blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Was it blocked? Or is he drugged? How? Nobody knew his secret on his family, not even the man himself. But I was forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? I don't know. So what's the purpose in all of this? Like Baron von Zeke is still... I mean, he is still the prime suspect. But it also doesn't add up though, right? Exhausting day so far, I did. So what's the purpose of all of this? What Mr. Sholmes? I mean, Sholmes is also shady as heck. Everyone is shady except Iris. But Iris also have a connection to Wilson. I do remember at the end of the first part of the first game of Ace Attorney that there were a couple of names, including, you know, Wilson, Iris' dad, Asoji. Maybe he's referring to the dad, Greyson, Inspector Greyson, I believe, was on one of the 4 names. There's another name, the professor, someone else. Or the judge himself, the Japanese judge, right? But the construction of a solution come only at the expense of destruction of something else. He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wound, you often open your own too, but he just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mystery is too important to him. Okay, but that's what I like about Hurley after all. So then let's have a tea, then I'll give you a hand about what. I finished this month's manuscript at last, with barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventure of Sherlock Holmes. You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before, okay? I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Oh, now then, my dear fellow, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. Let's make a plan. So how did it go in the court? We still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear, Lord Van Zik definitely didn't do it. Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. And there was another development too, Kazuma. It's quite clear now. Kazuma... Oh, I don't want story mode. Is there such a thing? The way he's acting, it's also helps he's possessed. Possessed by what? He was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vicious for Optimus. It's not always so merciless. Special mushroom? Did you grow? Like Mario? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand why he's going. The Reaper's innocent. If Greyson was remembered the day before his body, then Lord Van Zik has to be innocent, you see. Well, that should be easy enough to work out just by examining the corpse, surely. You would expect so, but curiously, the no time of death was included in the autopsy report. That is curious. Indeed, it is curious. Why? I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street? He said it was investigating Inspector Greyson. Yeah, it was Inspector's secret office. Why was the notice board in there to cover in all those particular paper about cases with a link to the Reaper? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all of this. Oh dear, that sounds more like something horrible devilish. So why is Greyson in... Well, he did say he was gonna, you know, inspect the Reaper, but then he said he has utmost respect for him. He was carrying out an incognito investigation of the red-headed leagues. Yeah. The inspector was supposed to be investigating. As it turns out, the inspector who wanted to investigate the red herring that day wasn't actually Greyson, was it? You're gonna go to sleep, DL? Alright, you have a good night's sleep? You know what that sounds like to me. Establishing an alibi, it does. But why would Greyson need an alibi? Yeah. Oh! So Greyson needs to establish an alibi. So he sent Vigil there? For what though? What kind of secret does he want? I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips. But perhaps it was seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Yo, you would not only season the fish with salt and vinegar, it would smell so fishy. At least add some, lemon juice to clean out the smell. Or even wash it with those. Vigil's condition? Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit her early yesterday? And that's right, to ask Mr. Shung who would help her to find her missing husband. Only Mr. Shung completely passes the buck to us. And it should say that Mr. Vigil has been taken to the hospital. You know which one? Yeah, we need to go visit Vigil as well. He's sinners again? I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals have closed down. But that's amazing, Runo. You found the lady's husband already. Well, I suppose I have, by accident. As the chief warder, the prisoner was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. So when the convicts escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. He did not help him? There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a butler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Greyson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspectors. Wow, why is the question? I have absolutely no idea. What is Greyson's true job then, if he's not an inspector? All our adults are up to no good now. Including you. What? I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. That means he has tied to the professor and to Inspector Greyson though, so I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you? Back to Saint Sinner then, we have to. Another question is, what is Greyson doing? I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Investigation. My special Wilson shooting iron will soon let them straight. Water pistol. Piping hot extra blend of mine? Oh yo. There's a little string that Mr. Show me is nowhere to be seen, but still, let's go and see what we can find out. Still. Also, where's Shomes? Alright, give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. Go to the washroom. Okay. Back. Let's move. So where do we go first? I cannot go to these places. Hospital bed? Let's go there first. Seeing sinners again? There's no one here. And this is jump from windows. At the base of the wall? Shouldn't you just lock up the thing? Just lock up the window so that people cannot jump down. What is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. Prison! Let's go to the prison then. Lord Van Zeke! Thank you for that, Ali. He doesn't seem like he wants to visit, does he? But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. Is he sleeping? What do you Nipponese want? There's no way to greet the lawyer's right to hardest to prove you're innocent, is it? I apologize. So, what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo? The fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow. Does this feel very, very strange? I wanna know what are you investigating there, though. Must say, I was impressed. Thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese, your prosecutor friend. Oh, I see. It's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loading of Nipponese to be entirely at the mercy of two of you. Okay, I suppose it's retribution for having played a part of the Reapers all these years. The Reaper. So you once told me that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits a cause I myself have committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? But the henchman of the criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you and only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts on your life, right? Wasn't it? So someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you. Is that? I believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization. So wait, the Reaper is actually a factual organization and just not some urban legend? It's unconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man. I mean, too many coincidences, right? No, the Reaper always appeared to have a very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved. Oh, are we talking about Greyson? Someone that you... Greyson? So that's why you are investigating Greyson. So it's taken me many years to finally identify the central figure in this Reaper's organization, Tobias Greyson? So Greyson is the killer? A police inspector that is actually a vigilante? Nani? That would mean that Greyson killed the professor? That cannot be, right? That's where he started too, to become a popular... Yeah, a popular inspector, right? Was with the Professor case. He was the one who did a lot of stuff to get Asogi's father, which is known as the nickname Professor, to be incarcerated and then, you know, later sentenced to be executed. But then after that, he managed to escape, and then the moment he escaped, he got shot and possibly killed. As I said, the Reaper of the Belly is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. Greyson was a key member of that organization. Oh shoot. Are you saying that Greg see that he was behind all those awful criminal meetings there? Greyson didn't do the dirty work himself. He was the tactician, and his job was covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassination. What? In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi, which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street are almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Greyson would have met the assassin there for briefing. You do have a name? But you can name the women. Who's the women? She's a young woman by the name of Assassin. Yes, that was the other name that was in the paper at the end of the first Ace Attorney. Assassin? Or assassin? The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson, then just went, I forgot about the Swan Lady. Ali, you were assassin. Or assassin. Would help her escape Japan and conviction. But then she's dead too. The Swan Lady. So who murdered her? Reaper of the Bailey? Really? This perhaps isn't a place to discuss. No, of course not. I mentioned it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson doesn't know. Because Arizona is very likely that the man was her father. Assassin. I should let father know at once. Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Sogi. My best friend, he's the whole reason I got to come to Britain. It was all on his merit. But respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such a... I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceeding earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father. It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their powers, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. I mean, it's still not that much of a difference, I guess. In many ways, Asugi was carving out a canker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. Okay, sure. That's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Zeke was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupted. Why did the damn Nipponese have to go and take my brother's life? Maybe because he didn't. Maybe because there were some nobles out there, you know, who were doing stuff and had to silence him and blame it on the professor. Did you think about that, Van Zeke? In spite of having one safe mind. Wait, the professor saved George? So it was 10 years ago on a foggy night that what was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capitals. Okay? Or maybe because your brother is not as clean as he make it seems like he was. Genshin and I were walking down some back street at the late hour. Okay, of course, at that point I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden, don't make a peep, you're coming with us. Oh shit. No, that is... Yo, he has a sword. Yo. He's looking snatched. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their face obscured by scarves. Klim was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I've been targeted several times before already. It's Van Zeke, alright, we got him! Oh crap, we got cornered. I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me. But just when I thought my time had come, if I let them kill you, Klim would never forgive me. So he was kind of like, you know... It was Asogi's voice, just a whisper in my ear. Bang! So he knew the brother had a good, you know, relation with his brother too. So it wouldn't make sense that he would kill his brother. Lay on the cobble street, blood was seeping from his left hand. He shielded me. So yeah, why would such a man kill your brother though? Especially not being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the professor. How awful for you, but it doesn't make sense though. If he was protecting you on, you know, on the basis that he likes your brother or something, having a good relation, why would he go after your brother? All at once I lost a brother I revere and the foreign friends are held in such high regard. So why would anyone do that? Something is not working here. Count it to anyone? Well, thank you for telling me that. To Giselle Brett. Then what is Wilson have to do with it though? Iris' father was killed by Giselle Brett or assassin. Daddy? Where's Dad? This place is so princely. It's a wild guess wild feeling you'd think the same tomorrow too. My tea has a finer fragrance than whatever they're serving in the tea room here though. Father! Oh, is this your dad, Susie? What a charming young lady. And you are. Iris Wilson. Oh, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly with much interest. Perhaps that goes the same to explain that bright look in your eye. You wouldn't reply so airily if you knew just how bright she is, believe me. As an invitee of this symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery after I twisted some arms, and I must say, it was truly exemplary performance. Yay! Finally some compliment. Thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you're omitted by Kazuma on the end there. It was you who impressed me. You didn't miss a step against Hisoga, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to mature into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary. Yay! Compliment for me! And really nice to hear, finally, for once. What I saw in the court to become what I've been hoping for, which is... the favor I mentioned yesterday, and I trust you haven't forgotten. Yeah, what is the favor you were asking? What is that? Okay, let's discuss that. I wonder where Judge Jigoku has got to. Yeah, where is he? Where's the judge? So-called Reaper of the Bailey. You do. I've heard rumors of some member of the judiciary explaining it all to me yesterday. Really? So when I was visiting a studio in London, the Reaper has yet to emerge. Until after that case, when the visiting student had already returned home, Lord Van Zik, who was in the doctor there, that was Barak, the younger brother of Clem Van Zik, I believe. He is. And he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you heard, but it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths, it was somebody else. Now the question is why it's linked to it. So what you're saying is there's been a professional killer at work here. Exactly. Someone by the name of Assassin, in fact. You meant the Giselle Brett woman who was resolved for killing my great friend? No! Don't say it! No. I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend the professor is talking about is John H. Wilson. Oh gosh. We're gonna discuss it? I've just remembered something. Biscuit, this hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits. I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some. I wonder, would you like some to come to, Iris? Diversion! You just tried to leave me behind. So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she? Yes, that's right, and she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the Great Detective show. But the name of the creditor is in Iris, isn't it? John H. Wilson? That's the name of her father, you see. Your great friend. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial Yume University 4 years ago. But he was murdered last year by Giselle Brett. Another question, why? Why would the hand of Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? There must be a reason why the Reaper is killing all those people, right? Iris knows nothing about the case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father. So I don't know if you had a daughter or not, but I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. Could be another Dr. Wilson, you said? John and Wilson are both common names? Probably best not to mention to the young lady until we can be sure. We're back with cinnamon biscuit. Oh, they smell delicious, Iris. I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here, don't you? Cinnamon. Yeah, where's Judge Jigoku? Guilty! Now you mentioned that I haven't seen him since this morning. I suppose since the symposium opening was postponed, we will have to go to explore at the Grey exhibition. That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judgika having once been in the dock himself. It was all tied up to that accursed trial, right? So he took the stand to testify, but he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous word about the British Empire for which he was charged. Well, it was alright in the end. He was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together. So the judge was charged. Talking about Seishiro. Photograph we all took together here yesterday, please. Oh. Lovely pictures. We've arrived in Britain. The court record? Why is that into the court record? None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we? Why is that in the court record? So special. I mean, the significance will come maybe later. The favor. Would like to ask me, what is the favor? Yeah, daddy? You're fighting one way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like you to accompany me back to Japan. What? What's the meaning of this? Now, Susato, you should understand. You've seen how our court work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense. The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer as soon as possible, really quite urgently in fact. I've not even been in London a year yet. I've read all of Susato's report. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talent, and having seen you in action in my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You Naruhodo are precisely the men our country needs. Wow. Such a burden. So you believing then, Runo? But then, what am I supposed to do, father? You come back too. You came here to serve as a Sogi judicial assistant. You're supposed to be Kazuma assistant. Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with his situation. So you've always chosen your own path, Susato, and I trust your judgment in this matter also. Wow, what a nice father. Well, he was not exactly nice. Early on in his life, he had pretty much abandoned Susato a little bit to go study in Britain. Don't look so downcast, it's merely a suggestion, you understand? I hope I'm honest, but I won't force you. All I ask is that you consider it and come to a decision by the time this trial concludes. Should we go back to Japan, Ali? You won't leave me, will you, Runo? What if I bring you all the way to Japan? The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will. That wasn't good? But it turns out that he's still alive. You don't want me to go back? Brother Pat? I need to telegram government minister and the police with the information about Asa Shin. I mean, maybe your telegram will bet you will get intercepted too. I look forward to the next month's installment, Miss Wilson. We'd love to entertain you. Best of luck for tomorrow now, Rodo, and give my suggestion for your full consideration. Alright. Always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he'll love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all of this. It's so obvious. How could I have neglected consider? What are you doing here, Shultz? Early, where have you been? Been following. Why I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question. You did not get invited. Mr. Naruhodo, I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of much urgency. Then do it. To whom I can entrust the tax? Now who? Wait, what? That? You look reliable enough for a bearded fellow. I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard. No question on this, if you please, Mrs. Sato. All we can do is pray that for once my deduction is Auri. Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct? Which isn't exactly. You may be surprised to learn that I'm very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind settees. He eavesdrops on other people's conversation. That's what joining us for tea meant. I'll leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellow. Okay, sure. What is this? I don't even know what that is. He ran away. He left the unpaid bill for his tea behind you. Damn it. God damn it. God damn it. How dare he? He profited of me. I'll run and call us a cop straight away. How dare he? I want to see the thing that it gave me. What the heck? Yeah, it's not even in the court record. I just have it. Well, I guess I'm not allowed to see it, I suppose. What more is there here? Nothing. I pretty much have all of it here. Sorry, when I start thinking it all through, I conjure up some horrible images in my mind. Your imagination is culprit here. I mean, he was part of an international organization for assassination. That cannot mean good thing, right? So there's something big happening in the background that we're gonna unravel and unveil. That's never a good thing, I think. Now those background dubious dealings. It is. board itself is sealed. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Doesn't seem like there's anything else. So there's nothing to do here. Okay, visual now. Still not here. Where is he? I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Hello again. Hello, lawyer. Mr. Visual. Feeling better? Thanks to you. Somewhat better. So sorry to cause you two. I mean, it was because of me. If I expose your secret, force you to remember things you obviously try to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago too. You just missed him. Asoli. This is much the same as you. He was very apologetic. The truth is, I brought all this up on myself. Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years, I've carried such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. Yo, what kind of deceiving you have to do in such a way that you even forget your own identity and your own past? That's some commitment there. Totally erasing part of, your own past. So much that you have conceived yourself of it. I mean, I guess there's a point in which you lie and you keep telling the same lie over and over again so much that you started to believe in your own lies? Is that what it is? I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Greyson didn't stumble across me by accident. Oh, I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as his stand-in. Yeah, where does his money come in? I mean, the salary of an inspector, is it that high? So much that he can totally compensate for another family. I highly doubt it. So he could be working for an organization. That seems more, likely, right? And it was a me that helped the professor escape 10 years. It wasn't me. Okay, so he's very adamant about not helping the professor at all. A second. To get charge. I swear it, I swear. Oh, Mr. Vigil. I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time. But if possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I need to get all of this off your chest, but he doesn't even remember himself. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. Really? Greyson's request. Inspector Greyson, I was engaged in a special operation of some sort. I mean, if he needs alibi, yes. But the question is, what? It would take his identification in person. A proper police investigation? A common street pilot couldn't possibly carry out proper police. All I would do is to go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Hoo-ha. Something to leave an impression, right? So something to leave an impression so everyone there would think that a Detective Greyson was there. So that's what you were doing. I mean, is it possible though? After so many years, no one noticed that there are two Greysons? It's a little bit hard to believe though. He asked me to make an appearance at the park on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very local about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed frost. Yes. So you would always make a point of showing Greyson's identification generally being loud. I mean, he looks like it. I mean, if he is to create an alibi for the inspector, he would be at least very noticeable. So that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, not a good one though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. Right. The following day they kept their word and released me. Without returning the inspector identification to you, however, we had arranged to meet in Fresno Street Room at 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. Oh. A gunshot. It was a midnight on 17th of June ago. That was time scheduled for the execution. The professor never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan to escape. Okay, so they were using that as an escape. Okay. Barclay was known for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out. Is that a true prison? I guess it would, right? Barclay Prison. Doesn't seem like it's a true prison though. Definitely does not look like it. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Everything that went in or out was searched multiple times, but there was one notable exception, or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. What is? I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the body of the executed convict were placed were correct. Once the coroner confirmed the death of a condemned victim, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers, and after that no member of the staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When execution took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside a chamber. I will wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin. As usual, the procedure was that I would sign the paperwork having checked the coffin, then nailed it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. What? I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. The coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gate and deposited into the gate, so you don't even get to verify. So you're signing something that you did not verify? That's a mistake. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long, so in the early hour following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. But in the end, he died too. He was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. He did. What on earth really happened in Loki Cemetery? What the heck happened there? All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have stayed that way without help from somebody working in a prison. But somebody was not me. Obviously you know the man then, the professor, I mean Genshin Asogi. In fact, would you mind telling us about what you know? Tell me. Having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by the elite men. That must be really something special, right? You know, if you're keeping someone that you know was gonna sentence to death, it must be a very special feeling. And special arrangement for any warders or officers nowadays is known for. To be in direct contact with that person. Now, what kind of discussion would that be? Like, would you even leave that person alone? Like, yeah, no more sentiment of attachment to them, so you're no longer allowed to talk with him or something like that. But I mean, there must be some minimal arrangements still to be made, like last meal and all those kind of things. Now, at the same time, you are looking at someone that you know is gonna die. They called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? Delicate diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. Of course it would. The man had less than a week in total, and as I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cell until his final hours. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. So he's kinda noble too. He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he had done, so I asked him one day, "Did you do it?" Are you really responsible, huh? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human life, yes. That's a weird way of framing it, though. The close trial took place and the verdict was no surprise guilty. When it was brought back to his cell, I saw something unusual. The last will and testament. What? What is his will? As I said, it was on the night following his trial after he'd been found guilty. Was doing the rounds of the cell when I looked into Asogi's. I noticed that he seems to have a sheet of paper in his hand. His last will and testament, and presumably no. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? For a man to pen a will when he knows his death in the night? No. Actually, that's true, but there was a special condition to Asogi's incarceration. Even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects. Really? With one exception. Of course, he'd be convicted of killing 5 members of our aristocracy, but at the same time, he was a guest in a country from the Empire of Japan. The power that would be determined that his final day shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. A pen? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing material. Really, but no pens or papers. Why? Why? I mean, usually you don't permit anyone to have his personal effects, but if you do allow the personal effects, why are you not allowing pens? Weird. Any writing would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration, so why does he have a pen? As I say, he hid the paper behind his back and then he pleaded with me. What did you just have behind your back? Turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. Your lifeline. You're the only person who's seen it. If you just agree to keep quiet. Alright then, but what's on that paper? A last will and testament. The only weapon I have left now. Weapon? A lifeline and a weapon. A weapon, huh? So I decided to pronounce nothing. Interesting. It just seemed to vanish without trace. Yeah, what happened to it? Someone stole it? Did it disappear or did it remain in the cell? You're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects. Though I didn't search through them myself, so it was sent to Asogi, is that what you're telling me? It cannot have disappeared completely. What? How did... Yes, that's true. So how did he know? He knew of something. The Asogi papers. Because, well, of what happened. Well, thank you for telling me all of this, though. We'll be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... I mean, personally, a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. He imagined that when I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. Oh shit, you will. It was all my doings. I always knew that this way day would come after 10 years, huh? Oh, maybe not 10 years, a couple of years after the event. Maybe a little bit less. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. What? Don't tell my wife about it? The Asogi paper? I'll be very grateful if you make no mention of the things I told you about them. Why? my understanding that their very existence is a very closely guarded secret. One that I remember, well, I might get assassinated. Asogi. So some sort of wheel that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder, perhaps it has something to do with his plan to escape. Visual's governor, right? Barclay prison. Let's go over there. So where are we going with all of this? No, not the prison. The other one. Hello, Governor. I read the report just now. Tell me everything. It's not to do with Barclay. Well, I wouldn't lay like you to get the wrong idea. Bull that. Well, of course, stopped working here 10 years ago now. So yes, we've seen his on notice, haven't we? He was ready to give the chop. How about when we handcuff Biscuit? Little handcuffs! They are as hard as iron too. That's not a good property of a biscuit, in my opinion. We're doing here today. There's something else we'd like to ask you. Give me everything. There might have been a document that is slipped from Genshin Asogi shell. I think it's been called the Asogi paper. Greyson's death is now to do with that might have happened at Barclay. Leave the past in the past. Let's not fool about with irrelevant details. Stop brushing your hairs. I wanna know whether you're gonna tell me or not. I will know. That murder and botched execution and the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour. A shocking embarrassment because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean? Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his court siege, and my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. He didn't know anything about it. That rascal would say otherwise. Any more handcuffs? How could I say no? You could never have too much iron in your diet. How much iron did you put in your biscuits with that hot? When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing, he jumped out of your office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you not think he wouldn't have jumped from the shock of his crime being exposed? Ain't I do. You wouldn't say otherwise though, would you? Of course I cannot shun all responsibility to myself. I shouldn't have let him deceive me. So there's barely anybody that can what went on at that time now, with Greyson having Dr. Sis forbidden her from having any visitor. No visitor? What? Doesn't want her giving anything away. I need to talk with Dr. C too. Well, we're not going home empty-handed. And I would not dream of sending you back with nothing. Now Kimmer, here, take a handcuff or two. I suppose if there's anybody who was still keen about what happened then, it would be Forensic Division, Mariah Gorey. That's the coroner. Sid's daughter? But the wee barn following her mom's footsteps, you didn't ever see her without a scalpel in her hand. Oh, I know who that is. Her name is Mariah Corey. Call the doctor Mama. But she's the one who signed the coroner's, the autopsy report on Greyson, though, without the time. She's Dr. Sid's daughter, but her surname is Corey? Yes, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't count ins and outs about it. She grew up watching her mom working with the body of folks who died in strange circumstances. I did to do the same with her own life. I cannot understand it myself. Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother. I mean, he's still a doctor, right? She was in charge of Greyson's autopsy, I believe. Yes, she is. Someone told me once that the wee lassie always loved her mommy's story about cutting up bodies. Ew. She used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby. Yo. I told her about the other case 10 years ago. There's a fighting chance at least? After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us. Thank you very much. I'm not happy about any part of this. It took years for Lana to forget the whole professor's business. Stop asking pointless questions. Can you just stay away now? Leave me alone and didn't come back here. No! I still have questions. There's no many folk even here in the prison who've heard of those papers. I can tell him about Mr. Vigil told me. I'm afraid our source must remain confidential, sir. The paper actually a last will and testament, is that right? The professor's, or rather Genshin Asogi's. Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy. But after that conviction, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it? I think you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been. What? Do you have the paper? You have the paper? Really? Written with a calligraphic brush. He leave all his worldly possession to his son back in his homeland. That's your lot. After all the stramash and slash of executed, we send the man's possession back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it, except for this paper. One thing before you go your way, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Those papers are now to do with Greyson's death. I prefer it if you didn't make no mention of them outside of this office, or rather, I wouldn't just prefer it, consider it an order from the highest level of our government. Why? Why? I, Genshin Asogi, hereby requested that upon my death, any of all material possession and wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son Kazuma Asogi in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again, but I regret nothing about my chosen path. All the material possessions. So what did Kazuma receive? My question. Okay, let's go to... I need to see that girl too. Is that clear? I need to talk with that, Mariah Gorey. So many people to talk to. But prosecutors on welcome inquiry are going to make it longer than necessary. "42, 43. So precise with time. Does prosecutor also believe that Lord Van Zeke is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful close trial, that Lord Van Zeke made a name of himself among the judiciary, but the next trial he thought he lost. It means the ringleader of the criminal was acquitted, thanks to all the jury being under duress. Ben's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days. Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work. It was the inauguration of the Reaper of Bailey. He was brought to the trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident. Nevertheless, the mysterious death continues. 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidence. It is. And the impact of that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's closed trial? Precisely. Wow. So the government does not want the identity of the Reapers being out. This country has seen a closed trial for 10 years now. Was the professors, right? Interesting, correct. Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. Van Zeke entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him that he might avenge his brother's death. 10 years later, with the son of the man Van Zeke had condemned now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. Shit. What goes around comes around, I guess so. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motives as well, which is in the exact manner that I prescribed. Well, not everyone can go away though. As with giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single clock being up. Okay. If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my gray machine, I will be forced to take steps. Eliminate him. Not something with which you need to concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. So I still need to talk with, Mariah Corey. I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my mixed meeting precisely 3 hours. And I hold you entirely responsible. What?! I wonder if you might agree to us talking with prosecutor as Sylvie. Discussion between the defense and prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go. Alright, let's go to his office. Let's go. I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. I'll still go. Whatever. Second November prosecutor's office. Let's go. So we even have a miniature, maquette of the crime scene. Kazuma! Come here, talk to me. You all are making of a great defense lawyer. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor. No. I'm truly happy for you. Good for you. We thought you were dead. You have some explaining to do. Sir? What's with all those hidden secrets? I always thought it would be fun for you and I shake up in British legal system a little together. This isn't quite how I envisaged it. No one would. Twisted of fate. And how Susato's father was himself a visiting student here once. Judge Shikoku about what had happened with your father. And you have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice, why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. So to know exactly what happened to your father. Yeah, I want to speak to me all about it. That's what I make of it. Okay, so he's not gonna talk about the Asogi paper. But I wanna know what he received. And what a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events. Well, it's no longer tragic, we know that you are alive. When I woke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flower by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of the ship. I slipped out of the room and headed onto the deck. Suffering from amnesia at that point? How convenient. I don't know what had happened or where I was. There was just this voice on my head. You have to do something. Something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain, your task awaits you there. Wow, conviction. It's calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw I was on a huge steamship. We were docking in large Hong Kong, right? Hey, must have been, presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship. I had no idea of the situation. I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded street of foreign port city. So I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Still quite some times. How did you make it to Britain? I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sight, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. But surely at a loss, I realize now that I escaped as a dead man with nothing but the clothes on my back, no money, of course. How did you still make it though? Crossing so many countries. I have 2 feathers in my cap, one being your knowledge of English. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deck hand on a cargo ship. Eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now, so he was keep working at the port until he got himself on a boat. But he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Wow, move heaven and earth to get here at that point. That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. By sheer coincidence, Lord Stronghold was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Your knowledge of the law. Curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law, he took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office. Was that a coincidence though? You finally got your memory back after the trial involving Draber. Genshin Asogi. You talk about your dreams. Mark my word, Ryunosuke, I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. You already did. About what happened to your father here. 16 years ago. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him, but what I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. 6 years ago, after he left, a gentleman called at the home family. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. No, he was executed. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Susato-san. Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at Yume. The opening with, oh, really? Letter that changes your life. What did it say though? My father has been a master and the writer curses the Asogi writer. Letter from Britain. I want to know that. Oh, one of the victims. Letter revealed that my father has been sentenced to death. Okay. Executed for being a killer. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. Well, obviously they didn't do it correctly. It could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing? Why would you? Oh, it was with a newspaper. conceal the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by fatal illnesses. That could not have been easy for him, and he'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jigoku, the other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest of moment, and then he just laughed the letter off. But in that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. Oh, he's been through shit? That's when I make up my mind that one day without fail, I will cross the sea to Britain and seek the truth for myself. So he's here for the truth. Right. I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way. No. Almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Greyson himself, the victim, was part of. It's clear that they were behind the Reaper's activity all along. Yeah, but why? Me and you? Who's been giving order to the Inspector? That's the question. And what is that organization? Is the real Reaper? And I know that 10 years ago, it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave. No, he was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame. It's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool that they use to do it. He's not wrong. When a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his action. Of course he must. Was taken by the Reaper. Real. So nothing out here for that. Can I move somewhere now? Alright, let's see how much I have left. Okay, I need to present the autopsy. Autopsy report. It's missing something. There were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion came up with something took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch has stopped and the scorch mark on the candle, certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it. It does. It bothered me too, so I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The coroner wasn't there, but I got a name. It was Dr. Gory. If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama would very much like to speak with the coroner too. Of course, the last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard Autopsy Laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery. A Barclay prison, huh? You know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life. Kazuma-sama! Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. Alright, let's go. Rinosuke, I want to thank you for what? For this. You safeguarded the soul of Asogi clan. Famous sword. Forged by Master Swordsmith. Chip of the old block. This blade Karuma is the symbol of the Asogi clan and honor and might. Apparently one of my father's apprentices even took a blade's name for a surname. Karuma. What? Tiger, you're noisy. Tiger, you're so noisy. Who's a noisy? Which is why it meant so much to me that I have it by myself again now. Alright. And that is all thanks to you. Meow, meow, meow. Now I have preparation to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much. Kazuma. Change. You change. Is that for the good or for the bad? You will change. I change? Did I change? Understand you resentment Lord Van Zik given what happened, but the fact is those events in this case are well unrelated? Is that what you want to say? They are not though. And it's for the reason that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in the court tomorrow. But whatever means necessary. Oh gosh, I can't let you do that, Kazuma. Showdown, showdown! But I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoner in the court. I would expect nothing less. Until tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey. Showdown! Alright. I think this is a good place to stop before I continue with more of the investigation. Either way, the time is like 5:30 already, so I don't think, you know, there's still quite a bit of stuff to uncover. So it will take me a little bit of time, so I'm gonna end it here. And yeah, I'll be back on Friday for some Splatoon. Like I said, since Splatfest is gonna be next week, not this week, so we get to choose our team first of all, so we have to think about what we're gonna decide between a chick, a baby bunny, and a beer cup. But we're also gonna be playing some summer run. I don't know what map is gonna be, but you know, since we played Turf War last week, and next week is gonna be Splatfest, which is akin to very much similar to Turf War. So this week we're gonna play some summer. I think Tiger agrees to it. What about it, Tiger? You agree to it? Yeah? Okay. Wanna be carried around? What is this? What is this? What is this, Tiger? Yeah? Purring? You purring? You like kisses? You like kisses? Like kisses? Black kitty? You purring? You got purr? You got purring cat? Hmm? So say goodbye to Ali, Tiger. Say goodbye to Ali. Goodbye to Ali. You want to say goodbye to Ali? Alright, so I'll be seeing you guys back on Friday, alright? What am I? Who doesn't kiss their pet? Most of the people kiss their pets. What are you talking about? It's not like I'm kissing his butt or something. Alright guys, so do take care until I see you guys back on Friday. Until then though, bye now.